Hi everyone, welcome back. So I will not be that long. I just wanted to come to you guys to talk a little bit about Kwanzaa. I actually made two Kwanzaa paintings. Well, I call them Kwanzaa paintings because we're in the middle of Kwanzaa right now. So for those who don't know, Kwanzaa is an African-centered holiday that was created. I can't recall the actual year. I want to say in the 60s, though. A lot of shit went down in the 60s. But it was basically to promote African unity across blacks in the diaspora. So not just only here in America, but across the world. And they have several principles that are emphasized in Kwanzaa. So there is unity, there is self-determination, there is cooperative economics, collective responsibility. What am I missing? Unity, self-determination, collective responsibility, cooperative economics. There's creativity, there's faith, and there's one more. Purpose, I think that is purpose. So there's 7 altogether. Here are my paintings that I made today. I actually been fasting, so I'm a bit drained of energy. And you guys saw the 2 videos that I made today. It was like a comedic video that I made on the church. So you guys go and watch those 2 videos. So yeah, I'm a little drained, but I really like the way they came out. Actually, I'm gonna show you that, guys, this one first. But they definitely are in the theme of Kwanzaa, though, when you think about it. So I like the patterns here with this one. You guys can see that it's actually in reverse. Everything in live shows in reverse, but this is Dr. Danny Leach. And when I opened up my private practice, of course, several of these paintings, which I've made, I started painting back in October, I think it was, 2020, in the middle of the pandemic. It was something that I picked up, like my pandemic hobby, essentially, because we were on lockdown. A lot of things were still shut down. So we weren't really able to go out and be out and about in the city, which that's something I like to do, even if it's just walking through the park or walking throughout the city. So we weren't really allowed to do that. So I kind of took to painting. You guys can see where I made my very first video where I actually put the paintbrush to the canvas, and I felt like I was just so mesmerized. I was so in awe and a little bit shocked and disappointed in myself that I waited so long to actually begin painting. I'm like, wow, for a hobby that is so refreshing, right? And so fulfilling, like I should have been doing this. But 2020 was the very first time that I started painting. And I haven't looked back. I'm just so very grateful that I took to this hobby. And so since I made my very first painting, I counted them, and I'm sure I always miscount because I have so many, but I think like these 2 make 132 total paintings. So that's pretty significant. But I feel proud of myself. Yeah, so this is the first one. Yeah, definitely gonna put these up in my office when I purchase it, when I open it up here in New York. And this is the second one. It says African first. So for those who do not know, I do identify myself as a Pan-African. It's simply put, Pan-African, we actually embrace unity amongst Africans across the diaspora. It's important that we put our African identity first above anything else. So that'll be above religion, be above whatever you are affiliated with, right? This comes first above anything else, right? And I think that, you would think that would go without saying, right? That should be natural. That should be something that's inherent within all of us, but it's not. We as a people have been socially conditioned. We've been trained to want to attach ourselves to things that really aren't in our best interest, but we want to belong, right? We want to fit in society. So we join different organizations, we join different groups, right, in religions and all of that stuff. But with being a Pan-African, you first and foremost have to have an appreciation for your heritage, for your culture, your history, your identity as an African person. You have to identify yourself as that. You have a lot of Black Americans who don't identify themselves as African, right? They claim everything else but African. So that's really important. And understanding that, right? And understanding the power in being an African, right? Knowing that African blood is in our DNA. Understanding really what that means. And when you understand what it means, then you come to an appreciation of it, right? And knowing that all the power that you need to get through life, to be successful, to make an imprint in this world lies within you, not outside of you, which traditional religion has conditioned people to believe, right? That you have to look to an outside source for empowerment. But that definitely is not true. So, yeah, with that, it's like we promote and live by unity. That's so important. A lot of people have fallen victim and subjected to separation and division. You see that often online on social media. It's like, this group of people against that group of people, this political party against that political party, this religion against that religion, this gender of people against that gender. And people, when we identify ourselves as Pan-African, none of that matters. What matters is this: African first, right? And that's it, essentially. So yeah, I find it interesting, like even as I create content, for my platforms on Facebook and YouTube, that, people are entitled to their opinions, but, oftentimes people come as a distraction, and those people I end up like just blocking because I don't need that. It's like, unless you are about the unification of African people, for me, that's all what matters. Like, we can discuss different topics. Of course, I talk about sexuality a lot on my vlogs, but, people, I think, sometimes try to superimpose their negativistic thinking onto you, right? And they haven't dealt with their traumas or their demons, and they try to enter into your space. And I make it clear that I'm definitely not about that. I'm not about, going back and forth with someone, debating and having unnecessary conflict, right? So, I think it should be pretty clear what I'm about. Even like, for example, I'm looking at my painting, I'm just like, wait a minute. What is that on my painting? Is that it's like some kind of film, looks like that is on my painting I'm looking at here in my living room. I don't know if that's like the gloss spray or what, but anyway. But yeah, like even for example, the videos that I made on like cuckolding, of course it would attract a lot of beta white men because that's who typically identify themselves as cuckold. No judgment there, but they oftentimes try to like weave in, like slide in, of course, like their fantasies and their beliefs and impose that upon me. And I make it clear, like, listen, I'm a Black woman. I'm attracted to Black men, right? I have no interest in interracial dating, marriage. That is not what I'm into. But because like they're open to interracial relations and sexual relations, it's like, they share their ideas and they're trying to convince me. And it's just like, listen, I'm 39 years old. Like, I am who I am. It's not changing, right? You're entitled to share your opinion, on my page, as long as it's respectful. But that just goes to show like how it's interesting how, people from, varying walks of life, they come onto your social media platforms, they interact with you, and oftentimes, you just don't get it. So, yeah, I make it very clear. I don't mind that demographic of people like on my YouTube page, and commenting and following me. A big number, I would say a significant number of white men do follow me, right? And they have these fantasies of being dominated by a Black woman. And I'm like, first of all, I'm not into interracial dating. Second of all, like I identify myself as a submissive. I don't want to dominate even a Black man, right? So yeah, I think that that's just of high importance to me, that, I definitely walk in my truth and that people can understand and have respect for that. Other than that, I have no interest and have no dealings with people like that. But that's just an example. You have Black men who are bitter and broken, and I may make a post and it's not frequent that this happens. It's very rare, but when it happens, it kind of stands out, and it just reminds me of the healing that we as Black men and Black women need to go through. I know I can say some things because I have much experience, personal and professional. I mean, remember, I am a therapist, so I've seen many different walks of life. I've treated a number of patients throughout the years. I've heard, innumerable amount of stories from people, very dynamic stories. And it's just like I come with my experience and I share what I know here on my platforms, and I think sometimes obviously people become triggered by that, and instead of looking within, they come with their negativity, or they try to project this negativity onto my platform. I don't allow people to disrespect me, let alone disrespect other people on my page, so you get blocked. But I want to end just saying that I feel good about 2023. I think I feel good about every year because I'm just a very positive person. So I just wake up each day with a positive mindset. Positivity is what gets me through tough times and good times, I would say. But especially during tough times, So I like that I spread positivity everywhere I go. That's just who I am. So I don't see how anyone could come and interact with me or attempt to interact with me and bring negativity, because that's definitely not the energy that I bring. That's not the space that I've created on either of my platforms. It's just not. I am not your average YouTuber, so to speak. I'm not here to make money, though my channel is monetized and I make money, but I'm not driven by that, right? You have a lot of YouTubers who are driven. They create content for the purpose of making money, at the expense of kind of going against their own values, their own belief system. And that isn't me at all. It never will be. I won't sacrifice who I am and what I value and what I believe in, what I hold to be true, right, to the essence of who I am as a Pan-African woman just for a couple of dollars. No amount of money could make me suffice. So I definitely make it clear that I'm not your typical YouTuber. And as a Black woman, I know that there is this trend. There is a narrative amongst, a good portion of Black YouTube women who vlog on YouTube, who create videos on YouTube where they, are putting down Black men, right? And creating, this divisive narrative. It's just no. I may talk about topics that relate to Black men and Black women, but let's be clear. I feel like that is so beneath who I am. That is so low vibrational, and it irks me, I think, when people, participate in stuff like that. I stay away from that. That turns me off. I often reference this example of this YouTuber who I used to follow. I was living in Atlanta, Georgia from 2011 to 2014. And she was such an inspiration to me, right? She lives here in New York. She used to do walking vlogs and travel vlogs, and I just love her positivity and just her strength. And then I saw what she admitted that, her content kind of took a turn, I would say, for the worse, because now she's on that bandwagon and promoting this negativity and being very divisive and just speaking down on men, right? There's this thing called manosphere, and it's like women have created their own space to like spew out just this negative narrative, and I make it clear that I'm definitely not a part of that camp at all. You know, if anything, like I'm in my own lane. And I definitely ride with, you know, true, genuine Pan-Africanists. That's my lane. But yeah, it's just unfortunate though, because it's just like people, I guess, feel they gotta make a dollar and they want to be self-sufficient, right? They want to be entrepreneurs and not have to work for the system or work a typical 9 to 5. But meanwhile, it's just like, if you don't see how you are changing, you're not self-aware. And even if you are self-aware, but then you come to that crossroad and you make a decision that, okay, I am going to sacrifice, you know, I'm going to suffice my values just for $1. It's just like, so I don't really watch her anymore. You know, it's sad that people end up going down that path. But yeah, for me, I definitely would like to align more, like going forward, with like-minded individuals, people who are ambitious, people who, you know, are woke, who are aware of the things that negatively impact the Black community, right? Whose eyes are open and they are working on effecting positive change for within themselves first and foremost, but also, you know, within other people in the community. I take it very seriously, you know, like, I think sometimes that's the problem. I think when it comes to making videos for YouTube, it's just like everyone is kind of put in this bunch, right? And you kind of typecast into this, you know, this stereotype of who people think that you are. But it's just like, oh no, I'm definitely not one of them. And it really irks my nerve when people come with that kind of negative energy. So I shut it off very quickly, because I see that happened recently in response to one of the videos that I made. I'm just like, I don't know who you see me that I am, but I'm definitely not that, especially for the type of language that this person was using in response to my video. You know, I'm just like, it was disgusting to me, just disgusting to see that and to hear that, because I'm so protective of my space and my inner, like I'm very protective of, like, in real life, not just online, but definitely obviously in real life, you know, who I invite into my space. But I'm going to wrap this video up here. And yeah, it would be really nice to just, you know, vibe, to build with like-minded people. And I feel like, you know, many have come my way. You know, that's the thing. I feel like the universe has aligned me with some great people. I met so many, like, amazing souls. When I think about it, like, in the past, oh my gosh, decade, just really empowering, creative, you know, individuals that I've been exposed to. But, you know, it's just something about, like, the thirst, you know. It's like, I feel like our creativity, the essence of who we are naturally as African people, gets convoluted when we are thirsty, right, for acceptance or for attention or for the dollar. And it's just like, thank God I am not. I enjoyed your views on the ways of the world. I appreciate that, Tafari, son Tafari. But yeah, that's how I always been. Like, who you guys see? Although, yes, I've commented on, like, you know, who I am now is not who I was. I think we all change. There are, like, aspects and facets of, you know, our identity that obviously mature along the way. But the essence of who I am, right? Me being this woman who is very wise, like, that's always been in me, right? Me being this conscious, you know, self-reflective, soul-searching, you know, revolutionary type spirit of an entity. That's who I always been, as far as back as I can remember when I was a little girl, right? Always asking questions, kind of always in my own bubble, looking out at the world and looking at the world through an analytical lens, looking at people in the world and and asking myself, why are things the way they are, being very philosophical about life, in general, and the future and what the future holds, and just being ambitious and wanting to be a change maker and being that change maker. In order to change things, you have to have courage, right? And be bold and want to make a difference. And in making that difference, you have to be different, right? So many people, I think naturally we're driven to just want to belong and want to fit in, that, it comes at a consequence, right? At a detriment to, our purpose and the path that we should be on. So I'm definitely not that person, that I feel that I need to fit in. In fact, I'm the complete opposite, right? So just had to say that. But what I like most about this painting, both of the paintings are similar in that I use like the same kind of colors, primarily red, black, green, yellow, white, obviously. What I like about this painting is like the markings that they have on their face in white. I love that. The way the contrast with the lettering here and how that stands out from the darkness of the background. I just love it. But thank you. I appreciate that comment, that positivity, Tafari. I want to be surrounded by more like-minded people going forward. People, who are pure in heart, and who aren't like everyone else. Yeah. People, especially men, who have a respect for women, a genuine respect. When you respect a woman, you do not call her bitches and hoes. You don't refer to women as bitches and hoes. That I don't watch videos on social media with men referring to women as bitches and hoes. That is so toxic, and is dehumanizing, is disrespectful. It goes to show that black man, when men do that you obviously are under a type of conditioning, that you need to break away from, right? When you see black people, whether it's a man or a woman, like making disparaging remarks towards, the opposite gender within your own race, right? Within your own cultural identity, it's just like something is not right, It's like no longer does a white man have to have this agenda to mistreat us. We do it to ourselves. Are the paintings for sale? No. Someone asked me that before. A few people asked me that when I first started these paintings, and I'm like, money, that's one thing about money, does not move me. I think that's the reason why I'm so blessed in many different aspects, because I am not moved by money at all. I have enough of money. That's one thing I'm good on. And I think the effort, the time, the energy that it takes to put into painting, like I didn't mark down the exact time I started and the exact time I finished, but I've been working on these paintings for several hours. That's work, right? And not even just the amount of time, but just the energy. My energy went into these paintings. I feel like that is priceless. I cannot accept any dollar amount for my paintings because it's just immeasurable. It's priceless. I have over 130 paintings now, and they all like hanging up in my space where I live. I definitely feel like the number of paintings that I've created has motivated me to definitely want to get a bigger space. But I've always obviously want to get like a house, which I plan to invest in soon, like a brownstone, multi-level home. And then I'll have more space to spread out my paintings, and I'll just add more and collect more African art. But I appreciate your support, though. I had thought about like capturing these paintings in terms of photos and making a painting picture book that I can maybe put on the market, right? So that, you know, it will be duplicate. It'll be duplicate of the original. It's not the original, but it'll be duplicate of the original that I could, you know, organize into a book. And that may be for sale, but then, you know, that takes time. And I want to hire a professional photographer to take pictures of each of these paintings that I could put together collectively in a book. But yeah, that's probably something I'll do for 2023. I have a lot of projects I'm working on, you know, not to mention my autobiography that is long overdue, that I started writing back in 2009. It's a long story behind why that book has not been released, but just say everything in due time, and it's definitely coming out soon. I feel it. I feel like, hell yeah, I'm at that time. Like, I achieved what I wanted to academically with getting my PhD, professionally, you know. So it's like, yeah, definitely about to take a shift. I'm about to take a turn, you know. And a lot of things are underway that I've kind of been sitting on, you know, not just with my books, but with also my businesses too. So things are definitely coming together. And like much support, big shout out to Dr. Umar Johnson up in Philadelphia, the work that he's doing with the FD&G Academy, like the fact that he is unwavering in his mission to build this school, 2 schools actually that he's building, the Frederick Douglass and the Marcus Garvey Academy. Like, I really admire like his dedication and his strength, you know, because he could have said, fuck this, just giving up, you know, all the attacks that he endured and people, you know, taking him to court, and he just has been through so much to get this school off the ground, to kind of be castigated publicly, and oh my gosh, to be defamed of his character, you know, is still holding through. But I think that definitely is the spirit of the ancestors reverberating through him, so that he is continuing to push through. That's the thing. I can go and, you know, that's one thing about me. Like, I can talk forever. Okay, I have to sometimes cut myself off because I can talk forever. You know, so I be telling myself like, okay, I'm going to wrap this up. But I have to say this is that when you are called on a mission, you have a purpose that has been implanted within you. You're born with this, right? It's like nothing can stop that. You know, it's going to happen. Nothing, no one, nothing can interrupt that, because that purpose has been ordained and placed within you to manifest, right? So it's like you have no choice, and the world has no choice but to manifest it and to receive what's, you know, underway. So that's that. On that note, have a good night, everyone. Peace and blessings.